maximize conversions and maximize conversion value are my two most commonly used bidding strategies for Google Ads. And I really mostly just use maximize conversions, and this is mostly in the non-brand campaign types. So what you'll do is to access these, you'll come to bidding, change bidding strategies, and come to maximize conversions. And that's it. Like this, I like to just set it like this, and that's what I use. And you can see I've also got that set up on my non-brand campaign right now. Now, what this does is it's an auto bidding strategy that will set your CPCs based on trying to get the most amount of sales for your daily budget. So it really just bids for the highest intent. And now there's maximized conversions, but there's also maximized conversion value. This one strives to give you the most revenue. Now I think you can use these interchangeably, and I'd imagine one will typically perform better than the other, depending on the product, depending on the store. So like with stores that really just have a very narrow AOV, right? Like they have like a couple of products that are all around the same price. I like to use maximize conversions for that because I try not to, like, with machine learning, the more variables you try to include in the mix, the more complicated it gets. Just from playing around with like very simple machine learning algorithms with Python, that's what I've learned. You really want to try to just keep things as simple as possible with this stuff, with anything with machine learning involved. So now, like with this, you're using transactions, right? Like the number of sales as your primary optimization factor, right? We'll just call it like the thing that you're optimizing for. Now here, it's not only conversions, but now it's also revenue. And so there's always something that breaks with conversion tracking where you don't get the revenue, you don't get the value in. So it just makes it more complicated. So I always tend to just use this. But I could see how this would be useful when you're bidding with, like, maybe you have a campaign with products that vary in price all the way from like $10 to $150, $200, $300, right? Like you probably don't want too much spend going into the smaller price products, and that's where in some cases it may make sense to split your products into separate campaigns based on the average price of those products. It all comes down to testing stuff and seeing what you get. In those instances, though, I prefer to actually just use a different bidding strategy, which I'll go into the next video, the target CPA or target ROAS. But for the most part, like I really like to use maximize conversions over maximize conversion value, and especially for brand new campaigns that I'm launching. Like I'll launch them from scratch with maximize conversions on a little bit of a lower budget, figure out what starts to work, and then decide if I want to either increase the budgets or switch to a different bidding strategy and try to become more efficient first before scaling or seeing how far I can scale. I'm going to go over scaling later in the course, the last section, and that's pretty much it. So like maximize conversions between maximize conversion values, test them out, see which one works best for your campaigns. Maybe try making other campaigns, but again, with all this stuff, like the learning happens at the campaign level from what I've seen in my tests. So I like to put as much keywords and product information in one campaign and just use ad groups to split them out, because then it treats all of the available impressions for all of your keywords as like a big audience. And the other thing I've noticed with machine learning is that bigger audiences tend to give you either better efficiency at small spend or give you more potential for scaling. And it really allows you to use a lot more broad stuff, and you could see that in the video and with the top of funnel search campaign, and it's pretty interesting stuff. But so that's maximize conversions and maximize conversion value. Test them out. Let me know what you think.